Did you know that certain everyday habits could be quietly shortening your life? As we transition through our 60s, 70s, and beyond, the conversation around health begins to shift. It's no longer just about doing more, taking more supplements, exercising harder, or adding new routines. More often, it becomes about doing less of what harms us. Sometimes the most powerful changes don't come from what we start, but from what we finally stop. In this video, we're diving into 10 things that, if you simply do less of them, could actually help you live longer, feel better, and conserve your energy for what truly matters. These aren't extreme changes. They're not based on trends or fear. They're rooted in common sense, lived experience, and what medical professionals and longevity researchers have been quietly advocating for years. From subtle daily habits that strain your body over time to mental patterns that slowly chip away at your well-being, these 10 factors are surprisingly common, especially among older adults. The good news? Every one of them is changeable, often with just a shift in awareness and the courage to choose differently. So, if you've ever wondered why certain individuals remain strong, sharp, and vibrant well into their 80s and 90s, this might be part of the answer. Stay tuned until the end, because number 10 might just reframe the way you look at your own habits and give you permission to live a little lighter, starting today. Let's get started. 1. Constant worry over small things. Worry has a way of slipping into your day uninvited. A small thought here, a what if there, and before you know it, your mind is spinning over things that have either already passed or haven't happened yet. While some concern is natural, chronic worry over minor things can become a slow, silent form of harm. It affects your sleep, digestion, heart health, and even your immune system. The truth is, most of the things we worry about never actually come to pass. After 60, many people begin to realize just how much energy they've spent on mental noise, worrying about what others might think, how something small might go wrong, or about things completely out of their control. As this realization settles in, they begin choosing peace over panic, not because the world has suddenly become safe, but because they've decided that their own nervous system is worth protecting. Studies continue to show that chronic stress accelerates the aging process. It shortens telomeres, those tiny caps on your DNA that affect cellular aging. But even without the science, you've likely felt the difference in your own body. The tension in your chest, the tightness in your stomach, the restless 3 a.m. mind that keeps you from truly resting. Letting go of constant worry isn't about becoming careless. It's about becoming selective. You start asking yourself, is this mine to carry? Is this worth my peace? And little by little, you build the muscle of redirecting your mind, choosing calm where your old self may have chosen chaos. People who live long, vibrant lives often share one thing in common. They've made peace with not having control over everything. They focus on what they can change, and they learn to breathe through what they can't. And that shift, that subtle release, adds years not just to their life, but to the quality of it. 2. Sitting for long hours without movement. One of the sneakiest threats to our health as we age is something we rarely think twice about: sitting. And not just casual sitting, but prolonged, uninterrupted stretches, whether it's watching television, reading, driving, or working at a desk. Being still for hours quietly slows circulation, weakens muscles, and increases inflammation throughout the body. It doesn't seem dramatic, but over time, it can take a very real toll. Doctors now refer to this as the new smoking, and for good reason. Prolonged sitting has been linked to heart disease, diabetes, joint stiffness, and even early mortality. Here's the surprising part. Regular exercise doesn't fully cancel it out. You can go for a walk in the morning, but if you spend the rest of the day seated, the cumulative damage still adds up. What matters more is how often you move, not just how long. Many older adults, particularly those in retirement, fall into a rhythm that feels peaceful, but is actually quite sedentary. A bit of television in the morning, a meal at the table, some reading or resting in the afternoon, perhaps a nap. Before you know it, the majority of the day has passed with minimal movement. This isn't laziness, it's habit, it's comfort. It's what the body has grown used to. But what the body needs is circulation, muscle engagement, and regular changes in posture to stay functional. Simple changes make a significant difference. Standing up every 30 minutes, stretching in the kitchen while waiting for coffee to brew, taking phone calls while slowly walking around the room. Even a few minutes of light movement each hour can reactivate your system and dramatically reduce your risk of chronic conditions. People who live long, vibrant lives have something in common. They stay in motion, not by running marathons or hitting the gym every day, but by integrating movement into daily life. Gardening, climbing stairs, moving with purpose, moving with joy. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our content. Your support enables us to continue creating meaningful videos to inform and inspire. 3. Eating late at night. One habit that often seems harmless but can quietly undermine your health is eating too close to bedtime. For years, many of us believed that a small bedtime snack was perfectly fine. But both scientific evidence and lived experience suggest otherwise. Eating late disrupts digestion, spikes blood sugar, and interferes with your body's natural rhythms of rest and repair. As the day winds down, your metabolism slows, and your organs begin shifting from activity mode into recovery mode. Consuming food, especially heavy, greasy, or sugary meals, forces your body to work overtime when it should be resting. This often results in poor sleep, indigestion, and over time increases your risk for weight gain, acid reflux, and cardiovascular issues. What many people don't realize is that your liver and digestive system function best when given extended breaks between meals. Late-night eating compresses that recovery window and throws off your body's internal clock, especially during sleep. That overnight fast gives your body time to detox, rebalance hormones, and restore energy for the day ahead. But when you continue feeding it right before bed, that healing process gets disrupted. Over time, the effects build up in subtle, yet significant ways. Foggier mornings, lower energy, increased inflammation, even changes in memory and mood. A simple shift, finishing dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before lying down, can yield powerful results. Some people notice improved sleep quality within days. They wake up lighter, more rested. And interestingly, they didn't add anything new. They simply stopped doing one small thing that had large long-term consequences. Longevity isn't always about breakthroughs or magic formulas. Often it's about tuning into the body's natural wisdom and letting it rest when it asks to. Your body already knows how to heal. It simply needs the space to do it. And stepping away from late-night eating is one of the gentlest yet most powerful ways to give it that space. 4. Suppressing your emotions. There is a quiet kind of damage that builds up when you spend years swallowing your emotions. For many older adults, especially those raised to be polite, composed, or strong, this habit feels second nature. You keep the peace by keeping things in, but over time, unexpressed emotions don't just disappear. They settle into the body. And the cost of silence begins to manifest in ways that medicine alone can't address. Chronic emotional suppression has been linked to high blood pressure, heart disease, insomnia, and even autoimmune disorders. When we bottle up grief, anger, resentment, or fear, the nervous system stays in a low-level fight-or-flight state. The body remains tense. The heart beats faster. The stress response becomes constant, not occasional. This isn't a call to become loud or confrontational. It's about giving yourself permission to feel, to name what's true, to say, that hurt. I need space. I'm not okay right now. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of vitality, of humanity, of growth. Some of the longest living individuals share a common trait. They don't carry emotional burdens for too long. They find ways to release them through conversation, prayer, journaling, or even a quiet cry alone on the porch. They don't pretend to be unaffected. They allow emotion to pass through them rather than get stuck in them. You may be surprised at how much lighter you feel when you stop pretending to be fine when you're not. How your sleep improves, how your shoulders relax, how your appetite stabilizes, because when you make space for emotional honesty, your body responds with trust. And that trust often shows up as health, ease, and, yes, years added to your life. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 4 below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video. Your support enables us to continue producing meaningful, research-backed content to inform and inspire. 5. Over-consuming processed. Sugar has a way of slipping in, quietly, gradually. A teaspoon in your morning coffee, a couple of cookies after lunch, a slice of cake at a gathering. On their own, these seem harmless, but the cumulative effect can be far more damaging than we often realize, especially as we age. The less processed sugar you consume, the better your chances of avoiding inflammation, memory loss, and chronic disease. As we grow older, our metabolism naturally slows, and our bodies become more sensitive to sugar's effects. What once seemed harmless in your 30s can now quietly wreak havoc, spiking your blood sugar, draining your energy, and placing additional stress on your heart, liver, and kidneys. And because sugar is biologically addictive, it's easy to fall into a pattern of craving more, even when your body is clearly asking for less. Research has linked excessive sugar consumption to everything from type 2 diabetes to dementia. High blood sugar levels can damage blood vessels, including those in the brain, speeding up cognitive decline. For older adults, this often manifests as increased forgetfulness, brain fog, or mood swings. But even modest reductions in sugar intake can lead to clearer thinking, more stable energy, and improved sleep. This isn't about eliminating all sweets, it's about making more conscious choices. Opt for natural sources like fruit, and reduce added sugars in everyday items such as cereals, sauces, and drinks. Sometimes, simply becoming aware of where sugar is hiding is enough to prompt better decisions. And when you do make those changes, your body responds. Your taste buds begin to reset. Your vitality starts to return. Many older adults who cut back on sugar say the same thing. I didn't realize how tired I'd been until I stopped. Because sugar may offer a temporary high, but it always takes more than it gives. Choosing less isn't about restriction. It's about restoration, about giving your body the chance to thrive, not just survive. And over time, that decision can lead to more energy, more clarity, and quite possibly more years. 6. Ignoring sleep signals. One of the most overlooked contributors to a longer, healthier life is also one of the simplest, sleep. But not just any sleep, responsive sleep. That means listening to your body when it signals it's time to rest. Far too many older adults push past drowsiness, stay up late watching television, or disrupt their circadian rhythm with inconsistent bedtime habits. While this may seem harmless in the moment, the long-term effects can be substantial. Sleep isn't merely about feeling rested. It's when the brain cleans itself, tissues repair, and hormones rebalance. Every system in your body relies on high-quality, consistent sleep. And the older you become, the more crucial that restorative window becomes. When you consistently ignore your body's cues, staying up when you're already tired, eating too late, or letting screens keep your brain wired, you deprive yourself of deep cellular healing. There is a persistent myth that older adults need less sleep. In reality, they often get less sleep simply because they stop honoring the rhythms that foster it. Late-night exposure to bright light, caffeine in the afternoon, or a mind full of unfinished thoughts. These all interfere with the body's gentle descent into rest. But tuning in can be as simple as noticing when your eyelids grow heavy or your focus fades. That's your body whispering, "It's time." When you respond with care, dim the lights, limit stimulation, and go to bed when your body is ready, you begin to rebuild a healthy relationship with rest. People who enjoy long, healthy lives often share this in common: strong sleep habits. Not rigid schedules, but rhythms they honor. They don't treat sleep as an inconvenience. They treat it as sacred. And when you do the same, you'll likely notice better energy, digestion, memory, and immune function. It's not about perfection. It's about intention. Listening when your body whispers before it has to shout. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, comment number 6 below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and activate the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. 7. Isolating yourself from others. There is a quiet danger in isolation, and it doesn't always look like you expect. It's not just about being alone. It's about going days without meaningful conversation. It's about withdrawing when you need support the most. It's about convincing yourself that staying quiet is easier than reaching out. But the longer this pattern persists, the more it begins to impact your mood, your body, and even your lifespan. Social isolation has been strongly linked to increased rates of cognitive decline, depression, and even early mortality. In fact, chronic loneliness has been shown to be as damaging to health as smoking or obesity, and yet it often flies under the radar. Why? Because it's easy to hide. It's easy to say, "I'm just tired," or "people are busy," or "I've gotten used to being on my own." But even the most independent among us are wired for connection. Especially in the second half of life, human beings need shared moments, even small ones, to remain emotionally and physically well. A walk with a neighbor, a phone call with a friend, a brief conversation with someone at the grocery store. These interactions may seem insignificant, but they carry profound weight. They remind you that you matter, that you're still part of something larger than yourself. After 60, many individuals find themselves in a quieter season. Children have grown, careers have slowed, familiar routines have shifted, and in that quiet, it becomes all too easy to fade from community. But that's precisely when connection matters most. The beauty is, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just a few steady relationships, a few meaningful conversations, can significantly influence your brain function, your immune response, and your capacity for joy. People who age well aren't necessarily surrounded by large crowds, but they're not disconnected either. They make a point to stay in touch. They reach out, even when it feels awkward. They say yes to invitations. They check in on others, and in doing so, they not only add years to their life, but life to their years. If you've been pulling back, consider this a gentle nudge. Someone out there is probably hoping to hear from you today. And just one meaningful moment might be all it takes to remind your nervous system, you are not alone. 8. Rushing through meals. In a fast-paced world, eating slowly can feel like a lost art, but after 60, how you eat becomes just as important as what you eat. Rushing through meals, eating while standing, distracted, or in a hurry, not only impairs digestion, it increases the risk of overeating, poor nutrient absorption, and chronic issues like heartburn, bloating, and weight gain. When you eat too quickly, your body doesn't have enough time to signal fullness. That means you may consume more than needed before your brain catches up. For older adults, this can be especially problematic. As metabolism slows and digestion becomes more delicate, a heavy, rushed meal can leave you sluggish, uncomfortable, and disrupt your blood sugar for hours. But there's something deeper here too, something beyond digestion. Meals are not just fuel. They're moments of pause, opportunities to check in with your body, your emotions, and the simple pleasures of daily life. When you eat slowly, you engage your senses. You notice flavors, textures, warmth. You chew more thoroughly, helping your gut do its job. You breathe between bites, giving your nervous system a chance to settle. Slowing down at the table isn't about being fancy. It's about being kind to your body. It's a way of saying, I'm not in a race. And that mindset of presence over productivity spills over into other areas of your life: sleep, stress levels, emotional health. People who live long, healthy lives often treat meals with reverence, not as something to get through, but as something to savor. Whether eating alone or with others, they give themselves time to reflect, time to digest, not just the food, but the day. If you've fallen into the habit of eating on autopilot, try this. Take just 5 extra minutes. Sit down. Take a deep breath. Put your fork down between bites. You might discover that slowing down at the table actually speeds up your healing. It's one of the gentlest, most nourishing habits you can build for a longer, more vibrant life. 9. Staying in toxic environments. One of the most challenging yet crucial lessons we learn with age is this: peace of mind is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And yet, so many people spend years, sometimes decades, remaining in environments that quietly drain them. It might be a relationship that leaves you. 9. Staying in toxic environments. One of the hardest lessons to learn as we age is that peace of mind is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And yet, many people spend years, sometimes entire decades, remaining in environments that subtly, yet persistently, drain them. It might be a relationship that leaves you feeling small, a social circle steeped in criticism or gossip, or even a home where conflict constantly simmers just beneath the surface. Whatever the case, the body keeps score. And the longer you remain in those spaces, the more your health begins to reflect the emotional strain. Toxic environments aren't always loud. Sometimes they're sensed in subtler ways. The tension in your chest when you enter a room, the way you brace yourself before a conversation, how your sleep suffers or your appetite shifts without clear explanation. Over time, this kind of emotional stress elevates cortisol levels, suppresses your immune system, and contributes to chronic issues like hypertension, digestive problems, or anxiety-related disorders. After 60, your tolerance for such environments often begins to wane, not because you've become weaker, but because you've grown wiser. You begin to understand that longevity isn't just about diet or exercise. It's about atmosphere, about the emotional climate you inhabit. Sometimes the most impactful health decision you can make has nothing to do with what you eat, and everything to do with who you're around and how you feel when you're with them. Making a change doesn't always mean walking away entirely. Sometimes it means speaking up, setting boundaries, or carving out space for yourself, even within a difficult situation. But in many cases, it does mean letting go of roles you've outgrown, relationships that no longer serve you, or environments that no longer feel like home. People who age well often curate their surroundings intentionally. They create spaces that are calm, supportive, and emotionally safe. They understand that healing happens more quickly in peace than in tension, and they aren't afraid to choose stillness over drama or solitude over hostility. If something in your life feels toxic, listen closely. That discomfort is not a weakness, it's wisdom. It's your body and spirit saying, we can't thrive here anymore. And the less time you spend in environments that diminish you, the more room you create for clarity, for healing, and for a life that feels authentically livable. If you're still watching and these insights have been helpful, please comment number 9 below. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Your support empowers us to continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire. 10. Overusing alcohol or self-medication. As we grow older, the body becomes more sensitive to what we put into it, and that includes alcohol, over-the-counter medications, and even herbal remedies. What once felt harmless, a nightly glass of wine, a sleeping pill, something to take the edge off, can begin to have disproportionate effects on your liver, your brain, and your overall well-being. No one sets out to harm themselves, but the habit of reaching for a quick fix can quietly evolve into a pattern that diminishes both lifespan and quality of life. Alcohol, in particular, impacts older adults differently. With decreased muscle mass and changes in water retention, the body processes alcohol more slowly. A drink that felt mild in your 40s may hit harder in your 60s. Reaction times slow, sleep becomes fragmented, blood pressure rises, and these changes can go unnoticed until something more serious occurs: a fall, memory lapses, or concerning results at your next checkup. The same applies to common medications like sleep aids, pain relievers, or anti-anxiety pills. Used occasionally and with guidance, they may serve a purpose. But long-term, unsupervised use can cloud your thinking, weaken your balance, strain your internal organs, and increase your vulnerability. What often begins as an occasional crutch can become a quiet dependency, one that leaves you feeling more tired, more foggy, and more disconnected from your natural vitality. Choosing to do less of these things is not about deprivation, it's about discernment. It's about asking yourself whether the short-term relief is worth the long-term cost. People who live with energy, clarity, and presence into their later years often share this quality. They listen to their body's signals and respond with care. They seek comfort in more sustainable ways, through connection, movement, purpose, or mindfulness, rather than substances that only mask discomfort. If you've noticed a habit that no longer feels aligned, take this as a compassionate reminder. You don't have to go to extremes to make a shift. Even small changes, cutting back, speaking with a provider, exploring alternatives, can begin to return you to yourself. Because your later years should feel lighter, clearer, and more alive, not dulled by coping mechanisms that once served you but now hold you back. If this resonates with you, please comment number 10 below. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so and turn on the bell icon for more content like this. Your engagement supports our mission to empower healthy, informed, and meaningful living at every stage of life. That doesn't mean you never enjoy a glass of wine or avoid necessary medication. It means becoming more aware of what your body is telling you. It means asking yourself, is this helping me heal, or is it helping me avoid? And more often than not, it means seeking alternative ways to unwind: a walk, a warm bath, a heartfelt conversation. These aren't just soothing, they're restorative. They nourish rather than numb. People who live long, steady lives tend to use less, not more. They don't rely on substances to regulate their mood or force their body into rest. Instead, they collaborate with their body, working in harmony with its rhythms rather than pushing against them. That choice, made consistently day after day, not only preserves their years, but safeguards their clarity, their independence, and their joy. So, if something has become a habit that no longer serves your well-being, remember, it's never too late to step back and reevaluate, not from a place of shame, but out of respect. Respect for the life you still have to live. Respect for the health you're working to protect. Final thoughts. As we bring this video to a close, I invite you to take a quiet moment and reflect. Which of these 10 habits shows up in your life most often? Which one feels familiar, not because it's serving you, but because it's become part of the background noise? You see, longevity isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about subtracting the very things that weigh you down, the patterns that stress your body, the behaviors that take more than they give, the habits that slowly erode your vitality. And the beauty is, you don't need to change everything overnight. Awareness is the first step towards something better. Maybe today you decide to move just a little more, to speak up instead of holding it in, to rest when you're tired, to eat without rushing, to let go of just one thing that no longer makes sense for your health, your peace of mind, or your path forward. Because the less you do of what drains you, the more space you create for what restores you. And in that space, life becomes not just longer, but fuller, richer, and more truly your own. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to speak up. Reading your comments gives us motivation and encouragement every step of the way. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support empowers us to continue creating thoughtful, impactful content to inform, encourage, and inspire. Thanks again for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.